Okay, guys, welcome back to Modern Agent Blueprint. It's a little different today without Nicole and Nikki, right? You're stuck with Brooke and Marissa. So,
Your favorite
but
bonus co-hosts that have just kind
yeah,
of helped taken over Modern Agent here.
exactly. So, today the main goal is actually to set up your Flodesk if you've never used it before. So I know we talk about Flodesk all the time here, and a lot of the times it seems really overwhelming or you feel like you can't do it yourself. So instead of just saying, oh, let's throw together a workflow, throw together a link in bio, today we're actually going to go through your Flodesk, get it all set up, and basically set up for an independent agent and not so much of somebody who's on a team. So like I said in the registration, hopefully you guys did do your Flodesk accounts already because we're going to go through everything that you need step by step so you could actually use this as a do it with you style of a day instead of watch and then go back and do it later. So, and Marissa's just going to add in comments when she feels like it. Okay. So, when you first log into Flodesk, which again, if you guys have not created your Flodesk account yet, I did put in the chat the link for it. Oh, we've got one more. So if you go ahead and start your Flodesk account, you do just need to create the account, and then it's going to ask you to put in your billing information in the future if you try to send an email. So for today's purpose, if you want to just create the Flodesk account, you don't have to put in your billing information. If you're not sure if this is what you're going to do or not, and you just kind of want to test it out with us today, then you can go ahead and just create the free trial account, and you can always cancel it. You don't even have to put in your billing information. But in order for you to be able to use the things we create today, you are going to have to put in that billing information, okay? But the code that I put in the chat, that does give you 50% off for your first year, so it makes it only $19 a month, which is really nice. And Marissa, we had someone else jump in, so can you just copy and paste that code again so they have it?
Yeah, I gotta make sure Jeremy's got it. My friend, how are you?
Okay, so I'm gonna hide the cameras just so I can see my full screen. Um, So basically, I know a lot of us don't have our cameras on. Is anybody not on Flodesk right now? So I make sure I'm doing this at the right pace.
And two, guys, make sure that you like if you need her to stop and go back and do something, if you are able to follow along, which this is recorded too. So if you're like, I know Angie's driving and stuff right now, and we're gonna be chatting some later anyways. But if you are like want to just go back and reference it, or you're not able to follow along right this particular second, that's totally fine. But also stop and interrupt us and ask questions. Like we're just gonna run through it based on last week's session. We stayed really high level, and there was some requests to come in and get more nitty gritty on things and like show the actual setup. So that's what today is. It's the really nerdy, boring behind the scenes stuff of like actually setting up your account and some of these basic workflows. But sometimes we get too nerdy with our word choice. So please stop us, ask us, interrupt, whatever you guys need, because this is for you. We want to make sure you get your account set up.
So I'm just gonna ask again, is anyone doing this right now? Because that's again, this is how I'm gonna adjust speed. So if no one's doing it right now, I'm gonna go a little faster because I don't need to wait for people to do anything. But if we are doing it right now, I want to go slower so we can make sure everybody gets it all set up. Okay, I'm gonna go with no one's doing it right now, which is fine. So, okay, I'll just go through everything then. So starting off, when you create your Flodesk account, the first place I'm gonna have you guys go is over here on the far right. This is gonna be like your account section. So we're gonna start from top to bottom. And the first thing you're gonna wanna go to is the overview. So here in the overview, this is where your login email is gonna be. So one thing about sending emails in general is your deliverability when you're sending to multiple email addresses at one time is going to significantly go down if you are just using an @gmail.com email. So for example, you can see my domain is @brookehazard.com. The reason why I use that is because I can authenticate it, which then makes my deliverability much higher. So it's not that you can't send with, whatever your email is, Marissa Morello Realtor at gmail.com. You can still do that, but it might just change based on how your deliverability rate is. I know, for example, we work with Nicole, and Nicole has great deliverability, and she's at gmail.com. It's just not authenticated. So some people are lucky with how long they've had their accounts and how they've worked with them. Other people, when you try to upload thousands of contacts at once and then try to spam them all with emails, that's when, the authentication would be really helpful. So if you wanted to get a domain, you can purchase one right through Google. You can purchase them. Marissa probably can talk a little bit more on this. You can do GoDaddy too, right?
Yeah, you can. I would just do right through Google. If you're gonna do like at Brooke Hazard like that, because you'll have the cheapest and most amount of user options, like the aliases and the things that you can connect it to and the DNS options. You'll want to get your domain, so the actual like brookehazard.com, the website, through something like GoDaddy, because that is not currently offered or the best choice through Google. But then the email, it'll ask you, as example on GoDaddy or Pork Bun or any of those sites that offer the websites, it'll ask you if you want to also get the Gmail or mailing option. Say no, go directly to Google for that and set that up, and then you'll just connect it. There's all kinds of steps and easy peasy. You want to do it separate. Get your email through Gmail and your domain through whatever source that you want to.
Okay. So yeah, that's definitely where I would start, is make sure that you have an email that you're going to use and stick with. It's very cost effective. If you wanted to get a domain, you can always just use this domain for email marketing if you wanted to. You don't have to change your whole business over to start using it, right? You could do mail forwarding and have this email forward to another email
Mr.
address if you
Chairman.
really wanted to. And then another thing that people sometimes tend to skip is in this account details section. Let's make sure that you fill out your first and last name here, because sometimes we skip it and then our emails don't come from anybody, right? So it's important that instead of our email coming through just from your email address, you want it to come from your name. And then another thing is your Flodesk handle. So a lot of Flodesk, this is actually something it took me a while to figure out, but your Flodesk handle, a lot of the times people have like ice cream sundae 123 is like the one that Flodesk makes for you. So you can change that. It's completely free. You just hit the edit button and I just put my name. So that means whenever you make forms or send links that are connected to Flodesk, the link will just be something similar to this where it says brooke.hazard@myflodesk.com compared to ice cream sundae 123, right? Just confirm your time zone and then your password just below. So this is just something really basic to get started. Just because a lot of times people skip it, they see their accounts done and they don't go in and finish all of these things. So the next step going down is your email setup. So this is where I was talking about authenticating that domain. So I had two senders. So I have my soldbybrooke@gmail.com that I use. So that's what I currently use for my real estate sales. This is what I started with. And when I realized that some of my form opt-ins were going to people's promotional tabs instead of going to the direct inboxes, which is what led me to create my own domain, which I wish I would have done this from the beginning anyway. So if you're debating whether or not you should do it, I would just do it. It's worth it. But it makes it a lot easier to verify. So you can have multiple senders in Flodesk. So if I wanted to, I could have this be like my real estate team. It doesn't have to be my name. I don't have a team, I'm just saying in general. But it could be like your real estate team. It could be your company. It could be, Brooke Hazard Realtor. So you can change things. You can have things come from, if you had, we've done them before where it's like the marketing email. It comes directly from, instead of coming from the team leader's email, or one comes from team at instead of, Marissa at, for us, for example, we have support at RU Consulting, but then we also have Marissa at RU Consulting and Brooke at RU Consulting. So it's nice that you can add these different senders within one account. So most of you probably only need to stick with one because like I said, we're primarily focusing on an independent agent. So you would just want it to be who you want it from and then your email. So my default sender is at the hello@brookhazard.com. So I would get that set up and then it's time for the domain. So as you can see, my Gmail did not work, which is what made me go up to creating the brookhazard.com one, which that was able to be authenticated, which when you purchase through Google, it connects you to Squarespace. So you just authenticate the domain within Squarespace. You just add the custom fields and put in all the information. It's fairly simple. Marissa, you have something for that?
I was just say, or GoDaddy. It's wherever you've bought your domain through. So yours is through Squarespace, like Nicole uses Squarespace. So like that's all through that. But I'm a GoDaddy user, so it'll come up to connect the DNS through GoDaddy. So it's just whoever hosts your domain.
Yep. So it was just confusing in the beginning. Like when you buy through Google, it tells you you're connected to Squarespace, but it doesn't really give you very clear instructions. But Flodesk has a really good help page that has a how-to on that, which I can probably find and send to anyone who needs it. But then the checkout setup, we skipped this because that's like a higher paid platform. I'm not having anyone purchase anything through my Flodesk. It's just for me to send emails. So I skipped this section. And then the next is going to be the branding. So this is what makes your life so much easier. So as you can see, I haven't done it. But when you do the branding, you can put, if you have a logo, you want to upload your logo here. So that way every time you start an email, it's going to put your logo at the top. So that way you don't have to add it every single time, right? It's already done for you. Any of your brand colors. So if you have the codes, you can just copy and paste the codes in here and they'll automatically be in there for when you go to create emails. It'll make it so much easier. So if you want to change your fonts to match your brand, background colors to match your brand, all of those will be saved for you, not just their default colors. Because I've done the thing where you try to use the little like dropper and you try to make it the same color. It's so much easier if you just save everything here. I don't use brand colors. I just am black, white, and tan usually. So, or whatever I'm feeling that day. It's always different. And then same thing with fonts. So you can actually upload fonts here, which I think is really cool. I've worked with a couple different people and clients that have special fonts that aren't in Flodesk. And when you have a brand that has special fonts, a lot of the times you want to use them, right? Because it matches your branding. So you can upload all of your fonts here too. So I use the fonts that are within Flodesk, so it doesn't really affect me. But if you wanted to use your special fonts, this is where you would add it in the branding section. And then you go down to your company details. And this is where on a website, right, when you click on the logo of the website, usually at the top, it takes you back to the home page, right? So it's the same thing here for your emails. Is at the top of your email, when someone clicks on your logo, it's going to direct them back to your website. So that's a good thing to have in here, that because you want to make sure if they click your logo at the top, it takes them to your website, because that's what a normal website would do. So that's kind of a good little fun feature to make sure you add. And then your address is really important. You want to make sure you have your company address in here because they will not let you send an email without verifying the address. So you want to make sure you put your address in here. And then your social links. So if you're anything like me, you don't know what half of these are. So if you do scroll over them, you can see what they are. So usually it's like we have Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, LinkedIn. Those are your primary ones. You might put your TikTok, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I don't think you need a lot of these other ones. Like if you want, like adding your Spotify is just kind of stupid to me. Sorry. And then I don't know what like any of these other ones are. A lot of these are for different types of brands. Doing real estate, I think that your primary focus should be this top row here and maybe your TikTok, and then you could do your website, which is this basketball looking one. And then Flodesk branding is just basically telling you at the bottom, it says if you want to create emails for a reduced price. It's just giving out your affiliate code. You don't really get anything very much for sharing your affiliate code, but it does help the other person, gives them half off their first year, so I leave it on. And then I don't do anything on the opt-in settings. I leave that. The integrations, I integrated mine with my Instagram, which I'll show you what that does. So at the bottom of all my emails, it has my latest Instagram post for people to click on if they wanted to view my profile. And then there's all these different integrations. You can also integrate with Canva. I haven't done that yet, so I'm not really sure how that works. I don't really like things getting involved in my Canva account because I just have a lot in there. But you could totally connect your Canva account to it, where then you can easily pull your designs without having to download them from Canva and re-upload them into Flodesk. And then we use Zapier a lot for a lot of our clients. So this is where you can connect your Zapier, which is how if you had a CRM that you're currently using, or if you're using KV Core, Follow Up Boss, any of these things, you can connect your Flodesk to one of your CRMs, which is what we talked about last week. So you can do that right in Flodesk as well. And then plan and billing. So this is where when I said if you wanted to send your first email, you do need to upload you need to put in your billing. I'm not going to scroll down because it shows you, I think oh no, it doesn't. It's closed. So you'd update your billing information. But that's how you're going to send your first email. So again, I think that most of us are going to go back and do this later, but does anyone have any questions so far? No. Okay. So next thing I'm going to show you would be basically how to upload all of your contacts. So I would suggest you're going to go into this audience tab. So this is the next step. So once you have all of your stuff done in your account, you're going to want to go to your audiences. So once you go into your audiences, you're going to go to segments. So segments is how you separate people. So the two I would suggest, I created these for you guys today, is past client and leads. I clearly still need to do this myself. So you're going to put all of your past clients into one folder, and any future current leads or, sphere that you have in your leads folder. So you would create your folder, which you would just hit the new segment button over here, and you would just type in, past client, pick your color, and hit save. So once you open that folder, then you can hit add subscriber. So when you add the subscriber, you're going to upload a CSV. So usually any CRM that you currently have, you can export a CSV, and then you can just go ahead and upload it right into Flodesk. So the primary things that you're going to want in the CSV is going to be first name and last name, email address. You don't really need anything else because the majority of what you're going to be using this for is for email marketing. If you're using it as more of a CRM, that's kind of it's not going to be the right use for it. So I would keep all of your phone numbers and everything maybe in an Excel spreadsheet. But when you upload the CSV, you really only need the first and last name and your email address for each person. So it's super easy. You'd hit upload, and then it has the drag and drop feature, which I love. So you just upload those there. It literally takes like 5 seconds to upload. If you just refresh your page, they all show up. And then I would do the same thing for your leads. So anyone who hasn't closed yet, or somebody that you have their information, I would include them as a subscriber here. If you wanted to just include your sphere, you could potentially put them in like your monthly or weekly newsletter section. You don't have to do it that way. You can keep them all in leads. But if you want to just put your sphere here, that would be fine too. You can separate all these people however you want. I think the easiest way to do it is having a newsletter section, a lead section, and a past client section. So that's how you would upload all of your leads. You're going to create the segments, and then you open the segment up, and then you're going to upload the CSV for that section. Do you think I missed anything there? Okay. So the next thing I was going to go through, because again, I didn't know if we were going to all be working together or not, was I was going to give us the option of either going through and doing a buyer guide lead capture or doing a link in bio. I think, which one do you think I should do, Marissa?
I would probably do the buyer lead capture and then do link in bio after if there's more time, just so that
Okay.
way they've got like a generic lead capture, and then we can upgrade the whole.
So I have a template for this, which I'm going to share.
Yeah, I'm guessing you'll have time for both.
Yeah, probably. Um, hello. Okay, so the link that I just put in the chat is going to be a template. So you're welcome. That makes your life 10 times easier because you don't really have to create anything. So when you open the template, though, it is going to have my face on it. So all you're going to do is click the picture. And because you're going to want to change it out, you're just going to hit this X over here. And if you have a buyer's guide, which I'm assuming most of you do, if you have a buyer's guide, you're just going to take the picture of the front page, hit the X button, and then you can upload your picture. So upload the first page of your guide here. So that way when someone fills this out, they're going to see a picture of the guide that they're going to be receiving. And then up here, this is a desktop preview and a mobile preview. If you hit the mobile preview, I usually have the picture turned off just because of the way it cuts it. But if you wanted to, I think it's in settings. It's not. So if you click on like the background here of this template, it says image on mobile. So if you turn that on, it'll put the picture at the top. So that's up to you if you want to do it, but as you can see, it's a short picture here. So I don't really like to always have it on. I like when it makes sense, I definitely do it. But for this one, because my picture was so tall, I had it turned off. So I just already have this filled out for you, so you can leave all of this verbiage here if you want. So it's just grab your free guide, grab my free home buyer guide, jam-packed with actual tips, expert insights, practical advice to help you navigate your next move. Whether you're buying your first home or planning a big move, this guide has you covered. So I only have first name and email address. I do that because a lot of people are a lot more receptive to fill something out that they don't have to put in additional information. So for me, I only really cared to capture their email address and their first name. So if you wanted to add last name, you would just click on these fields here and you'd hit add field and you can add last name and then you can drag these. And then there's this button here where you can make things required. And email address is obviously required because that's how you're going to deliver it. If you really wanted to, you could ask for phone number and different things, but I only ask for first name, last name, email address. When I do my open houses, when I have people sign in, I use a form like this, and I do first name, last name, email address, phone number, and are you working with an agent? So it's same thing, you just add all these fields, right? So a good place to start is just first name, email address. If you want to add last name, you can do that too. But this template will already have all that in there for you. And now that I added last name, if you want to get rid of it and change your mind on any of these, when you're in this section, you can hit these three dots and you can hit delete. Okay. So that's going to be your buyer's guide. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is up here, there's this thank you button. That is basically going to be what happens when they finish filling everything out. So I have mine set up like a workflow. If that seems a little too complicated for you and you're like, I just want to get this started, all these workflows are overwhelming, you can redirect to a URL. So if your buyer's guide is in Canva, you can use your Canva guide as a URL and you can just turn this on and you can put your Canva link here because you'll still capture the information and then it'll just automatically open up the guide. The reason I don't do that is because it'll automatically open up the guide. Well, then what happens when you want to go back and look at it next week or later tonight? You filled this out, but you filled it out while you were walking into an appointment. So next thing you know, when you went to go back to it, it's gone. So I like it to show up in an email. So I have the thanks, keep an eye on your inbox for updates button chosen. And then I always like to go ahead and hit the settings button. So you want to make sure that your double opt-in is turned off. The reason we turn that off is because when they fill out this form, it's going to ask them, are you sure you want to do this if you have the double opt-in on? So I keep it off. Notify me when someone subscribes to this. And then I have it set up where it automatically puts them in a category in my audiences as a buyer guide. So that way I know this is somebody who put their information in to get my buyer's guide. If you wanted them to also go into your monthly newsletter, you could do that. If you wanted to also put them into your leads section, you can do that. You can add them to as many segments as you want. But I have mine set up where it only goes into one at a time. Then you can click the link. So here you can edit your link, right? So kind of like how I said there's ice cream sundae 123 and we changed it to Brooke Hazard. Here you can edit your form link if you wanted to. So I could change it to buyer guide. Oops, not buyer guide. And then that uploads my link. It just makes it look a little bit nicer. And then I can do my link preview. So with this being a form, usually this is something like through social media where you would say, click my link in bio for my buyer's guide, or comment X to get my buyer's guide, right? So you could set up a mini chat for it. Or I know a lot of people, I do it all the time, is if I say comment buyer guide, I'll just DM them the buyer guide when they do it, or I'll DM them this form directly. So if I DM them this form,
Give it to them. You want to make sure you're doing the form so that you capture the lead. That's what I was just telling Jeremy in the chat. He had asked if we could help create the guide. So Jeremy, I was responding to you. We'll talk to Nikki and Nicole about coming back on and doing, because we've got templates too for the actual guides themselves. Just for time's sake today, we won't go down that path because that could be a whole other hour. But we will talk to them about coming back and doing that. This would be the part that's capturing that lead though, because we could have all the resources in the world, right? Like, especially if we have like KV Core or a website or something, we could have all these resources, but if we're sending traffic to it and we're not capturing that lead, then we don't know who's engaging with what. So that's why this part's so critical, is to make sure that we have some way to capture the lead before they get the value. Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. So, this is kind of like if you're going to send the link to them directly, this is how it would come over. That does not tell me that I'm going to download a buyer's guide, right? So what you could do is you could upload the picture of your buyer's guide here, and then you can change the title to download my free buyer guide. Click here for whatever, right? Whatever you want to put there. Now, little trick on this. Sometimes Flodesk is a little weird, and I'll update these. Okay, and I'll go back, I check, it's still there, I hit X, and then I'll go back, I'll check, okay, it's still there. Sometimes I'll go back and it's not there. So I do suggest that you double check it, like exit out and then go back to it, because if not, you might send it and be like, seriously, why didn't it update? So those settings are important to do your link preview. But this would create your whole entire guide for you. Now, if you hit share, you can create a QR code. So you can just take this QR code and put it anywhere, or you can copy the link and you can put it in, you can put it in a post or send it to anybody. So now, like I said, like the delivering of the guide is where people sometimes are like, this is overwhelming. So we created the form, which is great. And now I'm going to go back. So now we're going to go to a workflow. So the workflow I set up is for my buyer's guide. I label them. So my lead magnet delivery buyer guide. So the way that this is set up is, as you remember, when they filled out the form, it automatically tagged them buyer guide, right? So now when they fill out that form and it says buyer guide, they immediately get this email. Okay. And my email, it says, welcome back. For the fun part, that freebie download I promised you about my home buyer guide. Well, it's right here. Click the button below to grab it and dive in. Download here. That's it. And then see, this is where my Instagram's connected. So this is super easy. I do it like this so they can star this email in their, if they can star this email, that way if they want to go back to it, it's really easy to find. Where if I were to redirect them right to the guide, they wouldn't be able to find it again unless they filled out the form again, which means they'd have to find the form. So I like to send it as an email. And then once they get this email, it waits 1 day. I'll explain why it waits 1 day. It doesn't have to, but mine does. It waits 1 day and then adds them to my monthly edit. And then that's completed. So this is like an action plan or something, but in Flodesk, we call it a workflow. So they join the buyer's guide segment from filling out the form. I send them an email that delivers the buyer's guide, and then it waits a day and adds them to my monthly edit section. So I'm going to show you how to create that now on your own. So you're going to do a new workflow, and then whoa, this is crazy. So we're going to hit deliver a freebie. Now I click this one, and you're going to notice something really interesting is I didn't even make up half of these words on my own when we click on this and fix it. So let's just start at the top. Lead magnet delivery begins when? Well, it begins when they join my buyer guide. Okay, cool. That's good. Now it's going to send this email. So I'm going to click this email. Now over here, I can edit it. So this always pops up. I always click keep legacy layouts for this email. It's just how I do it. So see, if I had my logo uploaded, my logo would already be up here, which is why we like to do things ahead of time and have our account set up correctly, because then we don't have to worry about going back and doing this, right? So if you don't want it to say because everyone loves a freebie, this is a template, so it's easy to change. You just delete things. So your free buyer guide is here. Okay. You know that freebie download I promised you about my home buyer guide? As you can see, this is all I did for mine. Well, it's right here. Just click the button below, dive right in, and dive into email marketing bliss. Nope. We're just gonna dive in. Now, this says 5 tips for better open rates, blah, blah, blah. Nope, I don't want this thing in here at all. So I'm going to click on the edge of it, and this pops up here. I'm just going to delete this section. Perfect. Okay, it's looking a lot like the email I just showed you now, right? So when you're creating this, as you see when I scroll over these, if you've used any email sender or builder before, this is pretty familiar, right? It has these plus signs. So I want to add a button here so they can download my guide. So it has these spacers. I'm going to go in between the spacers and hit this plus button. These are all of my options. Well, great news. The button is what I want. So instead of click here, I want it to say download my guide. Okay. And then when I click on the button itself, I have all these options over here. So I can curve it a little bit, make it more round, hollow. You can change the color. If your brand colors are in here, they'll show up right here. So I don't know, let's make it pink. So mine's pink. And then I'm gonna wanna add the link. So I'm still clicked on the button. So there's button, font. I can change the font. I can change, see how this is lowercase. I can make it all uppercase. I can do different things. And then I'm gonna click the link. Well, this is where I'm going to do file, and I'm going to upload my buyer's guide. So that's where you're going to put it. And then that way, anytime they come back to this email, if they click on it, it's going to open up the buyer's guide. And then enjoy friend, sign it off by my name. If you want to add your phone number, different things, you can add that. You can easily hit the plus button and just add text. And then you could put like phone, blah, 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 whatever else you want, right? And then usually when you scroll down here too, you can have like you have all your links here of your social blocks, your address, and you're all set. So then I would hit finish. Okay, so now we're back to this lead magnet. So again, they filled out my form, put them in buyer guide. Now they're gonna get this email. Well, let's look over here again. Oops, I don't want the subject line to say a freebie, so I'm gonna do your buyer guide is here. And I can do a little cheers and then a preview text like, make sure you save this download, right? Something like that. And then from here, because now, okay, great, they're going to get their buyer guide, but I still want to talk to them and touch base with them. So the nice thing about these workflows is it kind of automates all that for you. So I'm going to go ahead and hit, I want an action. So an action, take the following action, choose. I want to add subscribers to a segment. So I'm going to add them to my monthly edit, which is going to be my monthly newsletter. So that way, now I know anyone who comes in through my buyer's guide is going to get put onto my monthly email list. So every time I reach out to everybody in my database once a month, they're going to be on the list that gets reached out to. And then I just hit publish. And then I would hit publish now. I'm not going to hit publish now because it's going to affect my current ones. But you can, if you already had people in your buyer guide tab, you can turn that on so it'll automatically start this where it'll send everybody who's already in that segment, it'll send them the buyer's guide. If you don't turn that on, it'll only send it to people that you add to that segment from here on moving forward. Okay, so you just always want to make sure this is published so that way it works. Now I would just send this to you guys, but I don't think, oh, I can share it as a template. Okay, let's do that really quick. Yeah, you guys can edit this a little bit. I don't have to do all the work for you. Marissa, will you save these links so when I can
Yep.
send them separately too?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's going to be the flow. That's going to be the workflow. So now what we've created is we've created a form. So when they fill it out for your buyer's guide, it then creates a workflow, which then is going to put them into your monthly newsletter or your weekly newsletter, whatever you do. And everything's automated for you. So that's all done. Now, right? I'm not missing anything in that, I don't think. So then the next thing we'll do is we're going to create a link in bio form. So what that basically means is like on your Instagram, in your bio, if you want to have resources or get someone to join your newsletter, you want to have some sort of form that opts them into that. So I'm going to go to forms and we're going to create new. So this is going to be one that you guys are going to have to do on your own. So you're going to do new form. And then in these sections here, there's a link in bio. And you can pick whatever one you want. The one I'm going to suggest is going to be this green one. So if you hit customize it, it's going to ask you about segments. So subscribers who opt into this form will automatically be added to this segment that you choose or create. So if you haven't created a segment yet, you can just type it in and it'll say like create. But I'm going to add them to the monthly edit. So starting here, it would be great if you had your logo, right? So you're going to put your logo at the top if you haven't already done that in the branding section of your Flodesk. And then you're going to want to change these words here to something like welcome. And then here you can say, I'm Brooke, your Metro Detroit Realtor. I don't know, ask ChatGPT what you want to put in it. Are you laughing at me?
No, sorry, I didn't realize that I was not muted. And I was texting one of our clients and they just made a funny joke. but sorry,
They
muted.
made it. Okay. So so use ChatGPT to like figure out what you want your intro to be fully. But like I'm Brooke, your Metro Detroit realtor. Join my monthly newsletter to get up-to-date info on what's going on around town and how the market is looking. Please do better than what I'm typing right now. Whatever you're going to put in your newsletter, kind of give them an idea here and like, let them know what they're signing up for. So then name, email, subscribe. Okay. Now, the cool thing about this link in bio form that makes it really easy is down here, there's this learn more section with all these links. So what you're going to change is do looking for something. Oh my gosh, I can't type. Looking for something else. And then what I did, so if you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see when you click on mine, I just changed all of these. So you could do work with me. 15-minute consultation. Perfect. So when you click on this, sometimes you need to, just so you know, this is where things get a little like funky. When you're clicking on the text, it brings up in the editing section, it brings up the stuff to edit the text. Okay. You want to click off of the text section to have the whole block. And that's where you see like all of these different things. So for this one, for example, where I changed it to say work with me, I would put my Google booking page. So like if you have a Calendly or any sort of way that someone can register to get on your calendar, you would put that link here. So that way when they click on this, it takes them there. Instead of make a reservation, I'm going to do download my buyer's guide. I'm not fixing all that. So download my buyer guide, free home buyer guide, whatever you want to put. And then here, this is what's important is you're going to put the link to the form to download the buyer guide because that way you'll still capture the lead. So when they click on this, you would put that form that we created that said download my buyer's guide. So remember, I'm going to show you. So in my forms, I created this buyer's guide. I can hit these 3 buttons up here and I can do get form link, or when I edit, if I hit share, I can copy the link over here. So then I would just put my link in here. So now when someone clicks on this, it's going to take them to this form. So I still capture the lead and see what they downloaded. I'm going to do the same thing. So for me, I have a rent versus buy guide because a lot of my clients are first-time home buyers, and this is a common thing I get asked if they should rent or buy. So should you rent or buy? And then I would go ahead and put that form link in here, right? Because I would just duplicate what I did for the buyer's guide, do it again for my rent versus buy guide, do it again for your seller's guide. And then here you can put your seller's guide, right? You can put all of these resources that you have. You can do your website. You can have all these other things. And then you can change these little pictures out too. So all of these pictures can be associated with what you're putting here for your links. Okay. And if this is too many for you, if you're like, I only have like 2 things to put here, I only have 1 thing to put here, that's fine. Just like the last one, you're going to hit the 3 dots and you can hit delete. Okay. Same thing with this like about us section. If you're like, I don't want to put all of that. If I click off of the form, because remember, if I click here, it's going to put me into all of the editing for the fonts and the text. If I click, this is just for this block. If I click on the form, I have the logo at the top, the preferences, the image, the link list, the bio. Let's turn that off. I think that was this. Yeah. And then, so that got rid of that whole about section. So now I don't even have to worry about that if I don't want it. If you do want it, you just turn it back on, you can leave it, right? Same thing, maybe I don't want my social icons on this, it's just a form. And then the next thing, which you're all probably thinking this whole entire time, is I hate that ugly green color. So you would just do the background color and you can use your branding. I always like white a lot of the times, I just think it's clean. And then you can go back and click on the fonts and you can change the font colors to whatever you want. I keep leaning towards pink today. Same thing here. So see, I clicked on it and it's like, wait, where's the color option? Up here. So you have fonts and style. So I'm going to go to font, make my font pink, and then my style, just making everything pink. Okay, so you can do this throughout the whole thing. I can have some be green. Whatever you want to do, whatever your brand colors are. So see, if you added your brand colors, it makes life really easy. And then same thing, change all of your border colors and your fonts. I'm not going to go through and do it all actually, but oh, I guess I did. So that's how you can change it all. And then you would hit the thank you button. It's going to say thank you for subscribing. You can redirect it to your website from here if you wanted to. You can have it say anything you want. You can type a custom message if you want to. And then same thing with settings. Mine puts them automatically in the monthly edit if they filled out the top part of the form. If they filled out any of those others, I took them to a different form. Obviously, it takes them into a different segment. Make sure your double opt-ins off, and then you can do the same things that we did before where you're going to update this link. So you could do link in bio. And then here you can change those images and those titles as well. Okay. And then you would just copy it and upload it into your Instagram bio. And then now you have this pretty link in bio page. So for example, this is what mine looks like. So if you're in my Instagram and you click my link in bio, this is what you get. So you can join my newsletter here. And then there's the 15-minute consultation, my buyer roadmap, and my should I rent guide. And then it has my phone number and everything. So this is just on my Instagram. And if anybody fills it out, great. If not, no big deal, but it's there. And I have all my resources available for them in one spot. So this form link you guys are going to create yourselves though, because I showed you how to do it. So is there anything that we think that I need to go back over? I killed it on the time though. It's 12:55.
Yeah, you did.
So I have all of the links here in the chat. And then what I'll do too is I'll go ahead and post them all in Modern Agent Blueprint as well. So that way, if anyone's watching the recording, they can still get access to the form templates. If anyone has any questions, if you just want to ask any questions within our Facebook group, that's fine. My email is brooke@ruconsulting.com. And then I'll put my phone number in here too for you guys. That way, if anyone has any questions trying to do any of this stuff, I'm happy to help. But other than that, I think we're good for today. And then when I come back and do the next one, hopefully you guys will have these things done. If you don't and we need help, I would like to hear just because you guys are on here. So if you guys actually work on this and are doing it and you're like, okay, this is a lot harder than I expected and it looked really easy and maybe it's not, then next time we'll go through and we'll do it again. So that's fine. But next time we'll do something even more, right? And we'll just keep slowly building out your Flodesk so it's easy to use and touch and
Well,
base with everybody.
so I'm a brand new agent, and
Mhm.
so I didn't know if you could kind of do them all for me, since I'm brand new.
You're funny. No, I can't do it all for you, but I'm
Yeah,
happy to help.
Marissa said.
Marissa said.
You're gonna
She
get me in
said that you
trouble over
would.
here.
Marissa said.
She said that you would, just for me.
Uh-huh. Just for you. You're
Little on me.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it, but I'll help you if you have trouble.
Okay. I have trouble.
Okay, you got to try first.
I'll send you my Flodesk behind the scenes. How about that?
Okay.
And you can see what all I've done.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a ton.
I promise it is. Like I use it pretty regularly. I just don't know how to do the different stacks and I get overwhelmed and then I cry.
Okay, well let's
Yeah,
start with one. Try and do one of the two today that we
Okay.
taught you. Try and
Okay.
either do your buyer guide or either try and do your link in bio.
Okay. Sounds
Jeremy, I
good.
I
just
would
put
start
in
with the
the
buyer's guide.
Yeah, I just put in the chat, Jeremy, jump on a call with us too, because there might be something we actually can help you with or take
Yeah.
over for you.
Okay.
But we would just want to chat more like one-on-one what that would look like. So I just threw that in the chat
Oh.
for you.
I don't know if Nicole's told you anything about me. I don't do anything but just look pretty. So I'll probably connect you with my admin and she
Perfect.
can help you with that stuff. And
Yep.
we can hire you to help her with that stuff or something.
That's exactly what I was just thinking is we probably just need to help your help. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
very
Cause
common.
I have like 5 people that try to figure me out. Like I'm a mess.
No, we got you. Use that link and we'll chat with you. Bring your admin on that call then
Yeah.
too, probably. And
Yeah.
let's like actually go into your flow desk and see how we can help.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Cool.
Well, you guys crushed it today. I
Thanks,
loved it.
Jeremy. Good to see you.
All right. It's good to
Good
see
to see
you.
you,
All right. We'll
Beth.
see you. All
See
right.
you guys.
Bye.
Bye.